Okay, so here we are in episode 3 of this Final Fantasy VII Remake walkthrough, and we are about to conclude this first chapter right here. Um, just heading out, beating some of the normal baddies in here. Nothing too big. Ready to get started. These things I like to just hack at if I can. I always like to switch to Barret as my second up because he usually has that overcharge ready, and then that'll immediately bring up your ATB gauge, so you can play with some stuff right away. This guy's if you can counter like that, that makes those people 1,000 times easier. If you go into your Punisher mode and block like you do in your operations mode, he'll use a counter if hit with like a direct physical attack. So on these humanoid people, I've noticed that that counter is very, very effective when they're alive. But looks like this is already going to be dispatched. Take out the boom. Too strong.
Sure you could.
And we'll hit this elevator, and there's not going to be much after that. So yeah, pretty exciting scene. See, I had how much, over 15 minutes left. It's really overdone the clock, and that's the less time. Imagine putting 30 minutes. Like, what have you been doing this whole time? This is kind of new to the story.
Sir.
That the bomb didn't blow it up. In the original, it did. The bomb did cause a massive explosion. But this time it has it that Shinra used this as an opportunity to really cast some shadow by having it blow up the reactor big time. Having it have quite an explosion. See, it wasn't designed to do all that. Barret still thinks this is just how things are supposed to be going.
Oh, come on.
Seeds Cloud's calmness. What you gonna do? You gotta let go, Barret. So heading out here, Jessie gets her leg caught again. That's reminiscent to the first one where she also gets her leg caught in this mission. But it just seems more like gets her leg caught between a couple things. It's never like a huge piece of rock that falls on her, such as right here or whatnot. It just seems like her leg's like stuck between something. Again, like you can't really tell because it's these like polygon shaped people and she's just like my foot. But that still harks back to that. You gotta throw in these incredible moments. Because, you know, why not? Some good cinematic moments right here. In the original, that explosion was a big CGI deal. But it just kind of happened. Now this is gonna lead us into our second chapter right here, where the original does have a scene kind of like this, where they're in this in-between messed up wall place, and but Jessie just sets a bomb real quick and explodes it. These are like the times where they're really expanding. Yeah, this gets a little more expansive than, let's say, like the first chapter, but it's still pretty close, I would say. Even though there's some big changes you'll see later during this chapter from the original.
All right then, lead the way.
You got it. Watch out for live wire.
These are the kind of moments playing it the first time that I found very surreal, where it was just like, wow, I am gonna play as Cloud through this, like looking cool through this whole thing, doing little mundane things like squeezing through these areas and all that. As a nostalgic player, it's a delight to think about. But that makes me wonder on the people playing the first round, does it have any type of magic like that? Like, is it just something about the story that makes the magic of this game?
I felt that one in my guts.
I won't know until I start getting some feedback from people who experience Final Fantasy first through this. Or Final Fantasy 7, that is, particularly. I like other Final Fantasies, quite a few of them. I like 10, I like 9. I'm not a big fan of 8. But 7 sticks out among them. Like, it's not just my favorite Final Fantasy, it's my favorite game ever. The original. This is a good sequel, too. I gotta wait for the rest of them to come out to feel the whole effect, to say that which one is better, because they're like two different subjects. They're apples and oranges in a way. But it's definitely a great adaptation, a great interpretation of the original. Like, hands down, no doubt. If you love the original story and the characters, then you should love this game. See, this starts delving more into subjects that were lightly, and I mean lightly, touched upon in the original.
Multiple explosions have been confirmed, as well as ongoing fire. In response, a disaster warning has been issued in sectors 1 and 8. Structures in the area are
They're going to start talking about this gray moral area, about what they did, and the repercussions. They're going to do that right now. This wasn't tackled so hard in the least.
This couldn't have been us, could it?
But what if it was?
What's done is done.
Merc's right. It ain't pretty, but we can't stop now. This was just the first reactor, and the planet won't be safe till we get to
Again, Barrett looking so like an actual person.
We always knew this was gonna get messy.
And this is only the beginning.
Y'all gotta look at the bigger picture here. Nothing worth fighting for was ever won without sacrifice. Though you may not be crying out, I know you're in pain, just like the planet. But it's okay, cause I'm here for you, to help take the load off your shoulders.
Having a good scene with Barrett. Yeah, I'm just letting this ride till I commentate again.
Your worries, your concerns, and yes, your fears. Whatever your problem, I got you.
So, what's our next move, boss?
That's easy enough. We get our asses home.
Yeah, that scene was summed up so much more quickly. What's funny about this is that past this point, past where like they all decide to just leave, it takes some liberties.
Later then.
Hey, I'd like my money now.
You can have it once we're back at base.
Yeah, like right after you have that bombing, it's pretty much a hunky-dory, just head back home little moment.
I don't need to tell you what this is, right?
Of course not. It's healing materia.
This gets into the materia and like equipping the materia, and if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII before, it's great because it's so adaptive on how you equip your materia and give people powers. This remake is almost as adaptive as the original, which is great. So, I mean, if you play it, definitely be checking in that out. And you switch up materials to give you different powers, and there's some materials you can couple with others to give you these like little twinges and increased powers. It's great. So it's glad that they intact that in a real-time format. It's a bit unbelievable. So I'm taking my time a little bit through this because these Square games sometimes are just made to be looked at and how gorgeous the scenes are. Like I said, this wreckage is immense, and the first time through in the original, you just kind of go through a few frames and everybody's living their regular lives, and that explosion, even though it was immense, it had no real repercussions, it seems like, at least to the city's daily things daily. Daily habits and businesses, it didn't really seem to have an effect on that. But this shows a massive effect. Like, this caused some trouble. Every person down there you can walk by, and there'll be some type of dialogue about this. Really adding character to the citizens in the city itself. These are people with lives. And quite like that, things are just crumbling around them. And so yeah, even though this is going to be a quick go through this game, I will be taking my time at certain points like this just to look at the surroundings. You're really in Midgar in this. This is, it's great how they did it. You are not able to explore Midgar in this type of fashion in the original.
What the?
And here he's going to have a pretty big Sephiroth moment, which this game definitely took more liberties with than in the first game. In the first game, for majorly the entire plot of this particular game, up to Midgar, Sephiroth's just whispered behind doors and mentioned here and there as kind of like a iconic hero figure, or like a myth, a legend. And that was to create that ambiance around the character, and it worked. But the thing is, nowadays, Sephiroth is a well-known established character, so I think he decided to go the complete opposite with it. You see him all over, and you get a lot more of these intense moments that Cloud has, these episodes. Yes, that's what I like to call them. And this one is so intense, it seems to be melding the city of Midgar and his hometown of Nibelheim together in kind of a creative, very creative, nutty way. Look at all that. But you could still see the Shinra Tower in the back. It's great. So we are going to be concluding in a few minutes, and I hope to see you on the next episode. And yeah, so stop on by again. See ya.